So King Charles II had some issues, and in 1681 he tried to solve 3 of those problems with one stone. So on the first hand, he had debts, lots of debts. And one of the debts he had was he owed 16,000 pounds, which back in the day was a lot of money, even for a king. Now, in today's money, that would be about
$100 billion.
Actually, it's just a couple $1 million, but it was a lot of money. He owed the money to the family of Admiral Sir William Penn. Now, Penn was dead, but his son was the heir to the estate, and therefore the debt was payable to William Penn. Now, problem number 2 is it was a time of religious tension in England, and not just between Protestants and Catholics, but also between growing religious movements in England. One of them was the Quakers. Now, the Quakers don't believe that anyone is superior to another person. Everyone is equal, which doesn't blend well with the monarchy system. So they were becoming a pain to England and to the monarchy in particular. And the third thing was, well, here in the New World, you know, claiming land is one thing, but if you don't have people living there, it makes it hard to back it up. So in 1681, King Charles came up with the brilliant idea. He offered land to William Penn in lieu of the debt over here in the New World. He said, hey, I'll give you this big chunk of land, and while you have it, why don't you and your friends, Quaker pun intended, why don't you and your friends go over and live in the New World? Nice and peaceful over there. You'll love it. It's beautiful this time of year. So, and then finally, because he had all these Quakers and people coming over to settle the new colony, it made it easier for the crown to keep that colony as part of the British claims in the New World. So up until that time, the Dutch and the Swedes had little claims here and there, and that evicted them forever, and it became solidly British after that. So why am I telling you all this? Because 8 years after that, William Penn granted a charter to a Quaker family living in London, and they came over to this valley, and in 1690 one of the family members built this house. And today I'm going to see what I can find at this house that's almost 350 years old. Let's see what we can find. Stay tuned. And the first signal of the day. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a little chunk of metal. On to the next. Well, finally something I think with a little bit of age to it. It's just a little copper ring, horse tack or something like that. On to the next. Yikes. Junk, and more junk. Well, and another somewhat old item. It appears to be an ox knob. You know, that wasn't dropped yesterday. Let's see if we can find more. On to the next. So after the king offered all this land to Penn, Penn accepted. King said, all right, great. The king said, all right, we'll draw up the charter. What do you want to call it? We need that for the paperwork. So Penn kicked around a bunch of names. So finally Penn decided, hey, let's just call it Sylvania. And the king said, brilliant. You know, it means forests. And there's lots of forests there. So Penn decided on the name Sylvania, which means forests. And the king said, hey, that's great, no problem. Now when they drew up the paperwork, or the charter, it turned out that the king had named it Pennsylvania. And it got run into all one word. Originally it was 2 words, got run into one long word. And when Penn found out, he was shocked. It was one of the most un-Quaker things you can do, is name this giant piece of land after yourself. He was embarrassed. He was outraged. He told the king, no, you got to change it. And the king was like, I don't know, paperwork's already filed. Stick with it, it'll grow on you. So after a while of protesting, finally the name stuck. Penn, came to terms with the name, but he never did like the name. To him, the state was always Sylvania, or the colony was always Sylvania. But just because of a clerical error, we're now Pennsylvania. On to the next. Well, the first coin of the day took a while. It's a wheat penny. On to the next. And now a nice little buckle. Don't think it's terribly old, but go into the collection. On to the next. A house over 300 years old, and I find a Merc. It's okay. It's still awesome. Second coin of the day. On to the next. Well, it looks like another old relic. It's the bowl of a really old spoon. That rang up really low. Looks like it was silver plated at one time, but it's probably just copper that's been silver plated. Well, maybe not copper. It rang up so low. Rang up around a 20 on the legend. Curious. On to the next. Well, second kind of old coin of the day, a buffalo nickel. Hoping to find something a little older than that, but that's cool. On to the next. And now a nice little drawer pull. That's pretty old. Very cool. Looks handmade. It's not very symmetrical. On to the next. Well, there's a big old tube of something. It's still got writing on it. Oh, it's toothpaste. I'll see if I can't straighten it out and see the writing on it. That's cool. On to the next. Well, it was ringing up very low, so I'm not sure what it is. It looks interesting. No, it's a dog tag. I'll clean it up and see. Oh, that's an old one by the phone number on it, so I won't show that side, but on to the next. And finally another old item. It's a paper thin flat button. The shank's broken off, but hey, signs of old. Let's keep going. And another flat button. This one is nice and chunky, rang up real good. Might have a back mark on that. That's awesome. It wasn't very deep either, so it's looking promising for some older relics. Let's keep going. Sorry for the smudge on the lens. So the original house, the driveway ran this way, and straight out there's a main road about a half-mile down. And now the neighbor's driveway is part of the original roadway. But when all the land was sold off for all these other houses back in around the turn of the 1900s, early 1900s, the road was moved away from the house. So going along here, I know the ground's been disturbed, but on this bank here is where I'm starting to find some of the old stuff. So the dirt was probably moved from over where the new road went in over to here. So things have been shifted around a little bit. Let's keep going, see what else we can find. Let's go. Well, that was exciting. That was a 5 wheat penny spill. Why couldn't they drop some Indians or silvers or... Oh, well, I'll take it. On to this. And the second silver of the day. It's another Merc. 300-year-old house. I find Mercs. It's okay. There's bound to be something else here. Oh, let's go. And a little harmonica that's still somewhat intact. I'll be careful with that because they're very delicate. On to the next. And a nice little sash buckle here. Oh, it looks like it was gold plated at one time. That's cool. It's not anymore. I'll clean it up. You'll see it right here. Well, the third silver of the day. I had to fight through some roots to get it. Let's see what it is. It's a Rosie. 300-year-old house digging Rosies. On to the next. Well, I think it was some kind of a ring at one time. Maybe a kid's ring, or I'll clean it up, see if I can figure it out. On to the next. Well, if you do this hobby, you know that you find a lot of spoons in the ground, but you don't often find forks. Cool. No monogram or anything, but that's cool. An old fork in the ground. You know what they say, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. I'll take this. On to the next. Another nice little one-piece button. Looks like there's a design on it, but it might just be corrosion. I'll clean it up, you'll see it right here. On to the next. Well, and something a little older than the wheat pennies I've been finding. I believe it's a collar disc. Yeah, it's very pretty. Cleaning up very well. And now an old faucet or barrel tap fixture. Probably late 1800s, early 1900s. Not terribly old. But this house has had a lot of work done over the years, so an addition was put on in the back probably around 1900. All this in the back was put on. driveway put in, neighbors' houses put in, road was moved, so a lot of dirt was moved around. But let's see what we can find. Stay tuned. Well, finally something old, and unfortunately I do believe I broke it. Trying to fight a root to get to it. This, I believe, was a knee buckle. Oh, it'd help if I show it to you. I had the darn GoPro keep turning off. I believe it's a knee buckle. Unfortunately, I'm fighting a root to get it. I broke it, but it'll still look good on display. Awesome, awesome. Finally something old. On to the next. Well, it's big and it's copper. Ooh, I see 1 cent on it. I'll clean it up. You'll see it right here. Didn't hold up well. The ground is really wet. But hey, first really old thing I found today. Well, besides that knee buckle. All right, on to the next. And now, I believe I have a half cent. It's either a half cent or a half penny. I think I see some kind of a bust coming through, but it's so dark, I'm not quite sure. Looks like a crown right there. Might be a Virginia halfpenny? I'm not sure. I'll clean up, you'll see it right here. On to the next. Nice door handle. On to the next. Well, that's going to do it for today's hunt. Not a very long hunt. I barely scratched the surface, so I got at least one more full day to go. But I got to go take the dog to the vet. So what a great adventure. A lot of fun stuff. On to the next. See you there.